The Unite move is completely busted on Gardevoir, and just check this out. Check this little fight out, how I'm gonna use it masterfully to hit all 3 enemies, and then we pair it up with a Psyshock and we completely blow them out, man. No counterplay right there. Yo, you're watching Shirko and we're back with some more Pokemon Unite, and today we're gonna be checking out the new addition to the Pokemon Unite roster, Gardevoir. She just came out a couple of hours ago. I played a couple of games, I tested all the different moves, tested some different held items, and I think I have a pretty decent idea of what the best moveset will be, what decent held item recommendations for you guys will be if you are going to be a Gardevoir main, because honestly guys, she is super fun to play. She seems really strong right now as well, seems to be dealing a decent amount of damage, but keep in mind she is incredibly squishy, okay? It is that standard long-range mage that you know and love from other MOBA games as well, so you know, definitely a very high skill cap as well because of that squishiness. If you don't like being one-shot by a Lucario, then you won't have a good time with Gardevoir. But if you like very high risk, high reward gameplay where you can dish out a ton of damage if you are able to safely position during team fights, especially in a huge AoE as well, then you are at the right address here with Gardevoir. But yeah, let's get into the best moveset, the best held items, and of course I'm gonna give you some gameplay tips as well. So first of all, we start off, you can immediately see that we take the eject button, because the eject button is really mandatory. I mean, for most long-range squishy characters, it is super important. Ralts here starts off with the confusion ability, which is just that, you know, standard decent range skill shot that deals damage in an AoE and has a pretty low cooldown, so it's pretty good to start off the game for that early game farming, but it also has that teleport, right? However, the teleport is lost after a couple level ups because you won't be able to take, you know, the abilities that you will replace your teleport with won't be a dash or any safety ability of any sort. You will be able to take Moonblast instead for the confusion to replace that later on, which is gonna give you a little bit of a distance creator because you will be able to dash away a little bit with it, but it's a very minuscule amount of range, so you still need that eject button 100%. But yeah, as I already mentioned, as soon as we can replace that confusion, it will be with Moonblast, because the other one, the Psychic, just doesn't seem to deal enough damage. I tried it. It seems good on paper because you throw that skill shot and it leaves a lingering orb which keeps dealing damage to the enemies, but it is just underwhelming. So I prefer the Moonblast in that R slot. That is the complete no-brainer. I think as soon as you try that, I mean guys, it's a long-range stun that also deals damage in a cone, and as I said, it creates some distance from the enemy assassin that is chasing you. But for the ZR move, there's definitely going to be a debate. I think some people will prefer the Psyshock, as I think some people will prefer the Future Sight. I think even more people will prefer the Future Sight. I tried Future Sight, it is incredible damage. Let me tell you guys, what it does, if you didn't know, basically it creates a little ball with very long range. It detonates after like a second maybe, and if you hit the enemy, not only does it deal a lot of damage in an AoE, it also reduces the cooldown by it. And if you hit, I believe, level 11 or 12, you are able to upgrade it to the plus version of that ability, and then it completely removes the cooldown if you hit an enemy Pokemon. Now, it has to be an enemy player Pokemon, not a wild Pokemon, and that's exactly why I take the Psyshock, because as you've already seen me use it there, it basically also has very similar range, and it creates these little balls that drop down onto the targets in that AoE, and it hits 3 times. And during that time you can move, and you can see the reticle moves with me, okay? So that's really cool. It's super fun to use, guys, but that's not the only reason why I prefer it over the Future Sight, but because this cooldown also lowers when you hit enemies with it. As you can see here, for each enemy I hit, it lowers or each of these little stacks that I hit, it lowers by roughly 1 second, as you can see, even a little bit more. It seems like 1.5 seconds. So it has a pretty low cooldown if you're able to hit all three. As you can see, I can keep spamming it here all the time. This is the perfect showcase of that ability. We just keep spamming it super well. And it also reduces the cooldown when you hit wild Pokemon. So it's much better for farming than Future Sight. And this is gonna be a super good showcase of the Unite move. The Unite move is completely busted on Gardevoir, and just check this out. Check this little fight out, how I'm gonna use it masterfully to hit all three enemies, and then we pair it up with a Psyshock and we completely blow them out, man. No counterplay right there. I mean, they really grouped up there, so it's their fault. Let's take it back and look at it again. It is just such an incredibly powerful Unite move to have. It has a pretty long range as well attached to it, which I didn't expect. As you can see, it pulls everyone together, it deals a bunch of damage, and it just perfectly lines up with your Psyshock or with your Future Sight as well. If I had Future Sight there, it probably would have done the same thing. Again though, because Psyshock also reduces cooldown if you hit wild Pokemon, and it enables you to farm much better and faster throughout the entire game, I just prefer it so far. But keep in mind, guys, the character only came out a couple of hours ago. I'm still new to it as well, just like you guys, so I'm still trying to figure out the optimal way to play, but so far it seems like Psyshock will be the move that I will stick with for my moveset with Gardevoir. Now let's move on to the held items, right? Now, as I said, guys, I say this in all of my guides, I feel like held items, it is still a little bit too early to give you a clear-cut recommendation what you should level up, because if you are a free-to-play player, if you level up the wrong held items, you will really destroy your account, you know? If, for example, I tell you, okay, this item is really good on Gardevoir, you go ahead and level that up, and maybe 2 weeks later down the line, people will realize, no, that's not true, you know? Maybe the mage held item meta completely shifts into a different direction, and then you suddenly already wasted all your item enhancers on that held item that I recommended, and then your account is pretty much, you know, scuffed, because it's gonna take a long time to level up these other items that actually become meta as well. Now, keep in mind, the longer this game is released, the more I'm figuring out, the more the high elo players agree as well on certain held items, and I think I can pretty confidently recommend 2 out of 3 on Gardevoir, which is gonna be the Wise Glasses. Everyone got them for free, so I'm probably gonna level them up to like level 10 and then see what happens, but I really think Wise Glasses will be meta on every single mage Pokemon, you know, long-ranged special attacker in this game, just because it gives you a boost to your not only special attack, but it also, not only a flat boost, but it also boosts it in a percentage. So obviously it seems like a really strong item. As you can see here, we can beat up this turtle here, this Dreadnought, with the Psyshock, because it reduces the cooldown. Imagine having Future Sight, and yeah, if you hit an enemy, it has a 4-second cooldown, and if it's evolved, it has a 0-second cooldown, but it has a 10-second cooldown if you don't hit. And if you hit a wild Pokemon, it also has a 10-second cooldown, so it just seems a little bit, you know, not good for farming. But yeah, Wise Glasses I think are definitely going to be good. The second item that I think is going to be good as well, that most high elo players seem to be taking on stuff like Cramorant and on Pikachu as well, like basically all the other ranged special attackers, just like Gardevoir is going to be that Shell Bell, which is also something that we got for free from the little challenge event. So again, you can go ahead and put that to level 10 if you want to play a lot of Gardevoir, definitely going to be worth. And then for the last item, I personally think from what it looks like, either Body Barrier or Focus Band seem to be extremely broken. So yeah, maybe I'm gonna be looking into copying that Focus Band and leveling it up, but again, Gardevoir is very long range, but Focus Band, I know it's a defensive item, but it just seems like such a strong item that it might be just the best item for every single Pokemon in the game. So far, at least that's what it seems like. But again, do not take my word on this. I'm not gonna invest into Focus Band quite yet, because again, I'm not quite sure. But it seems like a lot of people, especially if you play tanks anyway, it seems like a very good choice. But yeah, and with the gameplay tips, I already showed you a lot. You wanna, of course, line up that Unite move, you know, you've seen it throughout this gameplay, man. You wanna stay at a very long range. You wanna create a distance with that Moonblast whenever somebody jumps onto you, and then just blast them completely with the Psyshock. One really important thing is also that you can, as you saw right there, you can use the eject button during the Psyshock. You can also use basic attacks during Psyshock, which is really, really powerful. So again, lots of things speaking for the Psyshock. Meanwhile, the Future Sight seems like a very, you know, very high risk, high reward. If you really get good at aiming it, then yeah, it really deals a lot of damage. I'm gonna upload a video as well in the coming days with that Future Sight. I had a very good game with that as well, and we'll probably have some good games with that in ranked as well. Whoops, I paused too early. We of course want to show that percentage damage dealt. Now this was a standard game. This was not a ranked game because I don't want to grief my teammates quite yet. Okay, this is not, why is the video not playing? Okay, there we go. There we go, I paused too early and I couldn't keep going with the video. But yeah, 32% damage. We of course had an incredible Gengar player right there, 43% damage, completely carried. But yeah, my first impressions of Gardevoir are that it is actually very good. I think this moveset that I showed you is gonna be very decent moving down the line. When you get a little bit more comfortable on the character, when your positioning gets a little bit better, feel free to try out Future Sight. You can try out Psychic as well if you just want to see it, if you want to see what it does. But I would recommend you to try that in a standard game, because again, I feel like it is vastly inferior to the Moonblast. I didn't even mention that the Moonblast also gives you a shield when it turns into the evolved, into the plus version of it, which is incredible, just an incredible ability. And yeah, super nice Pokemon. Definitely gonna main it. Gonna be streaming it as well later this day, so feel free to subscribe, ring the notification bell if you don't want to miss that, and of course if you don't want to miss future Pokemon Unite content on this channel. With that being said, really hope you guys enjoyed. Thank you for watching, and I will see you guys the next time. Peace.